A very warm welcome to you, our viewers, to this edition of the News in English. My name is Serge Nore. I hope you're having a great weekend. Let us begin with the headlines. The President and First Lady of Rwanda are currently on a visit in Benin with the objective of further strengthening the bilateral relations that exist between the two countries. The Rwanda Private Medical Facilities Association has held its 6th General Assembly with challenges faced by members discussed. Now the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. As we just saw in those headlines, the President and the First Lady of Rwanda are currently on a visit in Benin with the objective of further strengthening the bilateral relations that exist between the two nations. Adams Kwizera has more.
On the first day of the state visit, the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, who is in Benin, was received by his Benin counterpart, Patrice Talon, in the honor given the heads of state and governments. After the discussions held tete-a-tete, the two heads of state led the ceremony of signing the agreement of cooperation in various sectors, including security cooperation, which came after a long time Benin struggling with the terrorist groups operating in the northern part of this country. This is where President Patrice Talon pointed out that this security cooperation is based on the experience of Rwandan military in restoring peace in some African countries.
Tout le monde sait très bien que le Bénin est confronté à l'instar des pays du Golfe de Guinée.
It's not a taboo. Everyone is well aware that Benin, one of the other countries in the Gulf of Guinea region, is still struggling with the problem of insecurity from the Sahel region. And indeed, there is a concern in the north of Benin. Even though it has been some time since our strategy has been able to deal with these groups, you all know that Rwanda has been showing its military capabilities from sometimes. The Rwandan army has experience and capabilities. Not long ago, you heard that they intervened in Mozambique and in the Central African Republic. We have ways to share experiences and capabilities to solve our problems. In this context, military cooperation between Benin and Rwanda is possible.
Pour la sécurité dans ce pays et par ricochet la sécurité au Bénin.
President Kagame also emphasized that now African countries should come together to completely eradicate this problem of terrorism on this continent.
Terrorism in this region is not just talked about by...
Terrorism in this region is not just talked about by me or President Talon. It's what everyone is talking about. In this region of West Africa, as it is in the Central Africa, East, South and North Africa. There are these problems. We have confirmed that we can work together in stable cooperation from where Rwanda is, in the East and Middle, where we practically cooperate with other countries to deal with such security issues. We have our military operating in Central African Republic. We have military in South Sudan, as well as those in Mozambique. For that reason, and our history, we have been building capacity for a long time, but not exaggerating. It's not a significant capacity, but it's sufficient to deal with these problems, especially cooperating with other countries.
Apprendre du Bénin afin que la coopération soit bénéfique dans les deux sens de façon mutuelle.
These heads of state also stress that African countries should cooperate in the exchange of knowledge in different sectors.
Vous savez qu'à la douane, nous avons des expertises, des compétences sénégalaises. Nous avons des Européens.
For customs, we use Senegalese, Europeans, Caribbeans, and Atlanticans. In this respect, Benin is not ashamed, as we look for experience everywhere. Unfortunately, when you use Europeans, Americans and Chinese, people don't say anything. But when you bring our African brothers, you find people saying that no one else would do it here. I'm proud of what we are doing, because we have experience everywhere in the world. There are Benins who live in Rwanda. Maybe they are not currently working in cooperation, but there are people who are famous at the international level in different countries.
Et qui ont été déjà bien avant nous au service de tel ou tel pays.
The issue of regional security has again been questioned by media. While responding to this question, President Kagame reiterated on the role of DRC in failing to address the problem of the terrorist groups operating in that country.
Le début de l'histoire. Donc nous n'avons pas bien géré la question et aujourd'hui...
It was mismanaged, as this problem was there since 2012. Today we are in 2023. After 11 years, this problem is back. This means that it has not been solved properly. The United Nations is still involved, and other countries are still involved. Some of these countries are found in this problem does not solve it. So calling the problem of this region M23 or the problem of Rwanda is like running away from the problem because you don't want to find a solution to it. But now, as we see it, the whole region in the East Africa, including Angola in the south, as we also have processes in Nairobi and Rwanda, they have all done their best to try to solve the problem. But these complaints are what prevent people from getting a solution, because the Nairobi and Rwanda process are clear and explain the root of the problem and how to solve it. The reality is that Congo itself is making it very difficult to be solved.
That is making it difficult.
Ne veulent pas apparemment que la question soit résolue.
It's expected that on the second day of his state visit in Benin, President Kagame will interact with 100 young entrepreneurs at Seme City, a flag project by Benin government dedicated to meet the skills needs of young Africans through training, research, and innovation. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
In an announcement that was read in the presence of the heads of state of Rwanda and Benin, as well as other officials from both countries, different matters were highlighted on, including regional security matters, cooperation geared towards mutual economic development, as well as the exchange of information and expertise in different sectors, to name a few. The announcement also noted on the importance of facilitating the travel of experts in different fields between both countries. It was also observed that the heads of state have commended the military cooperation that exists between Rwanda and Benin, saying it has reached a good level. Cooperation in the agricultural sectors of both countries was another resolution reached, as the abolition of taxes on goods from either country when exported between them was also highlighted. Now, some nationals from Benin, as well as Rwandans, operating in various sectors, including bilateral trade, have noted that the visit of His Excellency Paul Kagame to Benin will widen cooperation in other various sectors, which will lead to the development of both countries. Olive Nete with more on that.
Damian Muzun is a Beninese who has been living in Rwanda for the past 8 years, and he operates research and education activities here in Rwanda. He has also expanded his activities in other African countries. He demonstrates that Rwanda and Benin are countries with various similarities, hence the necessity to cooperate.
Vous avez vu le Bénin aujourd'hui, aucun pays africain n'a plus besoin de
African countries no longer need a visa to go to Benin, and the same thing to Rwanda. So if the other countries could take advantage of this, and as the other countries cannot be on the same pace, both Benin and Rwanda are trying to develop relations in terms of diplomacy, in terms of business, from the beginning. And if South cooperation like this can take place between African countries, I think it's a good thing and it should be encouraged. We need unity in African countries, and I think Benin and Rwanda is trying to set an example. They are trying to do their best.
Le Bénin et le Rwanda essaient de donner l'exemple, ils essaient de faire de leur mieux.
Damian reiterates that reinforcing bilateral cooperations in various sectors will also benefit citizens of both nations.
Actuellement, il y a tellement de choses que les deux pays peuvent apprendre l'un de l'autre.
There are so many things that the two countries can learn from each other. Benin being a historic country and having what I said, just mentioned in terms of our production, things that can be exchanged between the two countries, but also especially in terms of leadership. For example, Beninese President Patrice Talon, when he was elected, he found the opportunity to see what practically works in African countries, just like Rwanda. Where can we implement in our countries, for example, the questions of the community-based health insurance here in Rwanda, which is for population of Rwanda, so it will evolve over time according to the opportunities the men will create.
In 2016, Rwanda's airline, Rwanda, initiated its travels in Benin, and this contributed highly to the economic sector. Gloria Uwizera Kamanzi, an entrepreneur, started exporting her goods to Benin through this company since 2017. She states that there are various opportunities in Benin. There is a possibility to go and invest, and there is also a possibility to import goods from Benin to Rwanda then sell it within the country, but also export to neighboring countries. There's also facilitation in terms of aerial transportation because Rwanda travels to Benin. We also have opportunities in hospitality sector because they have a small number of hotels. They are currently working on tourism, and we can also provide them with services, especially in terms of hosting events. They are currently working on that too. Another thing that I can add is that construction activities are being improved. And in Rwanda, we already see improvement in infrastructures. And also, there are opportunities in technology sector because in what they requested from us includes technology. As President Paul Kagame is conducting a state visit in Benin, Akaniji Rex, a Benin citizen, states that this visit is essential in strengthening bilateral relations.
It should be noted that Benin and Rwanda have a lot of good relations. We should also note that very recently, the appointment of the former Director General of the National Identification Agency of Rwanda, Mr. Pascal Nyamurinda, to the post of head of the National Identification Agency in Benin. So these are just as many good relations that Benin has with Rwanda, and we think that this visit comes at the right time to better affiliate these two countries on an international level, to better discuss of their future together and to discuss strategies for common development.
Rwanda and Benin have cooperations in various fields, including ICT, administration, air transport, and others. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Now, moving on to other matters here in Rwanda, the services private clinics and hospitals provide have been commended, though they still do face a number of serious challenges that include high operation costs and outdated tariffs, as well as the fact that such establishments were deemed ineligible for assistance to recover from the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, despite being affected by them.
Challenges are obvious. The price of water and electricity has never been reduced on our side. We are in the health industry. We provide essential services to anyone. We have a moral responsibility to attend to anyone that needs medical services. If you look at the price for water and electricity for hotels, I will say for schools, and all the people working even at the special economic zone, they have been given what we call a specific price or rate to not only motivate them, but also to ease the cost of operation. Unfortunately, we were not given that chance. So we would really appeal to the authorities to provide us with such a rate whereby we will be able to sustain our cost as well. No, we need it because we work 24/7. You cannot find a general clinic, a dispensary, let alone a polyclinic, a hospital that are not using water or even electricity. We have medical equipment. We have people, like lately you've seen with the COVID-19, everyone had to wash hands. And let alone that, it's strictly forbidden for any medical staff not to be using water. The facility will need water 24/7 as well as electricity. We cannot operate without those utilities. So obviously we are in need of what we will call, if I may say, a favorable rate. A lot of people were able actually to have access to the recovery fund. We were able to put in our application. I will say, when we say able, and we talk about the Association for Medical Private Health Facilities. We did appeal to different banking institutions. Unfortunately, again, no one was able to respond to us in a positive way. Perhaps they believed that we kept working because we were also part of the essential services, but we were also affected. And we had to continue paying staff. We had to make sure that they were able to come to work. We had to make sure that we were able to attend to anyone that needed medical assistance. So you could imagine cost being increased around the world, import not being so accessible during the COVID-19 period, yet we had to work, yet we had to provide services and offer these services. We were not able to have access to the recovery fund.
During the 6th General Assembly of the Rwanda Private Medical Facilities Association that featured officials from the Ministry of Health, it was noted that such issues are being discussed with the objective of a resolution being reached. The Rwanda Private Medical Facilities Association features 337 establishments that employ more than 5,000 people and treat more than 1 million patients every year. Now, the Rwanda National Police is urging all people to provide information on a timely manner as it helps in investigating and the prevention of crimes. This was stressed on Saturday as the Rwanda National Police and the Rwanda Investigation Bureau paraded people suspected of involvement in the theft of millions of Rwandan francs from a British national here in Rwanda. Prince Manzi with more.
Gemrose Leonora was stolen 4.110 million Rwandan francs in her car parked in Kigali City. After contacting the police, 2 people suspected to be involved in this theft, namely Fabrice Nizemana, 24 years, and Juma Nitegeka, 23 years, were arrested. Leonora appreciates the Rwandan security forces.
It was what we withdrew from the bank in order to pay third-term school fees. So this is for like some of the secondary students. So a lot of children would have been suffering, extolling the virtues of REB and the police force here in Rwanda, because you've been thorough and I really appreciate and respect that.
The Rwanda National Police spokesperson, CP John Bosco Kabera, demonstrates that providing information early is essential in crimes prevention, and the information is to be provided to the institutions in charge.
Iyo baramutse bakugiriye nabi cyangwa se bakwibye wihutira kujya kuri polisi ugatanga amakuru yihuse.
If assaulted or stolen, consult first need the police. In previous times, we saw people claiming of theft on social media, and when we asked them to report in the case, we found that they did not even consult any of our stations. This means that it is only discussed on social media. What people have to know is that the priority is to inform the police as soon as the case occurs, or else consult other security institutions. The Rwanda National Police demonstrate that there are places known to have more theft cases, and thanks to the information from the residents, there will be a solution. The suspects in the theft against Gemrose Leonora, if found guilty by the court according to the law, the penalty is 2 years jail term. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince, for that report. Now, research here in Rwanda shows that women who compete in public procurement win only 5% of all bids. It has been noted that this is due to a lack of skills needed to compete in such a way. Jessica Gassaro with more.
Venihirwe Marie-Claire is competing in the catering market, while Nadia Uwamahoro is competing in the technology sector. These two are among the few who are determined to compete for government, fleet and large contracts. When the beginning is possible, you already know that the rest will be possible. You have to be confident first and see how the begin works. You notice all the challenges you're facing and see what you're going to change. Next time, you can bid for a bigger tender. Sometimes you win a big tender and you don't have enough money. Then you have to go ask for it in the bank, and they ask for a collateral that is way too big, and you realize that getting a loan from the bank is the same as asking money. However, the way I handle this is by using some of my friends' money and pay them later. There are also other women who believe that they have not reached the level of competition due to their lack of ability to enter the competition for various reasons, as explained by Yankurije. I am a tailor, and sometimes there are tenders, but since we are still down, we can't afford it. That is the first reason. The second one is the ability. Between 2016 and 2019, women won 43 of 332 bids that were awarded, representing 13% of all bids. And those winning bids represented only 5% of the total value of those bids. RPPS Sibomana Celestin, the director of Public Procurement Agency, says that there are principles that everyone has equal opportunities in public procurement, so there are no special opportunity for women as it is done in other sectors. Those who come for the bidding, they only come for those that are easy, like catering for food, water, etc. But if you go for bigger market and you find that there is no women, however, the side of RPPA, we started this teaching these women to be fearless and know that public procurement are for everyone, and that they can also get a loan from the bank, the equipment, the way men does it. All we want for them is to be confident. The president of Rwanda's Women Union in plenary session, Bakeshimana Chantal, confirms that this is an issue that needs advocacy.
Ni ukukomeza kwigisha abagore kwitinyuka no gutinyuka guhangara nyine iyo mishinga minini no gufata risk.
We have to keep teaching women to be fearless and dare to compete for the public procurement and taking the risk. Hence, all changes are hard, since in our culture, all the responsibilities were made for men. But now, the time has passed. All that are changing and women have the chance to study science. This makes me think that they will be good at performing well, starting with this example where women are doing big things. That means they are fearless. The Director General of the New Faces, New Voices Rwanda Association, who conducted research and revealed that this problem, Joy Rwamwenge, reiterates that in order to deal with this, in 2022, there will be 250 women who have been given skills to compete in the market, and this program is ongoing.
Every woman that goes through our program or through our hands gets to know how to do their own business plan. They get to understand their businesses very well. And when they understand their businesses, it is easy for them to understand how much money they need. So we handhold them through coaching. We have in-house coaching where we take the woman through coaching for a period of about 6 months. And the woman gets to understand their business. They get to understand where to get money. And once they are able to access funds or access finance, because practically we take them and, link them up to financial organizations, banks, other funding organizations, others who do give them equipment. And once they are financially stable, they are able to now have the confidence to go for procurement.
An amount of 1,066.5 billion, which is 13% of the country's gross domestic product of 7,898 billion, was allocated to the public sector in 2017 and 2018 budgets. At the global level, $10,000 billion are invested in market, which means that each country invests in its market between 12% and 20% of its global production, including Rwanda. Jessica Agasaro, RwandaTV News.
That's the end of the news. Thank you for taking the time to join us again. I do hope you have a great weekend. Goodbye.